I got the phone to speak with Miss Pitts. She said, I'm not calling you. I need to speak with you on a matter. She was like, I'm pregnant by Robert. So I'm like,
that's a lie, Your Honor.
Wow.
That's a lie.
No, why,
I'm
Your
like,
Honor? Because he doesn't have contractors. He does things
So what his
in a
so-called girlfriend
three-story
about
building
this?
himself. He doesn't have a hired contractor.
Imagine your engagement hanging on a DNA test. That's the drama today in Valdez-Lark versus Pitts Slater. Ms. Valdez-Lark says she won't marry her fiancé, Mr. Slater, until the court proves he didn't cheat and father a child with his ex, Ms. Pitts. Meanwhile, Ms. Pitts swears her 1-year-old daughter, Harmony, is Mr. Slater's baby, and even claims he's still trying to be with her. Folks, this is messier than a love triangle. It's a love demolition derby.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Valdez-Lark versus Pitts Slater.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day, Your Honor.
Ms. Valdez-Lark, you claim your engagement to your fiancé, Mr. Slater, is on hold
Yes, Your
until
Honor.
you determine today if he cheated on you.
Ms. Valdez-Lark explains how she first found out. She got a call from Ms. Pitts' 12-year-old daughter. The child said her mom needed to talk, and when Ms. Valdez-Lark got on the phone, Ms. Pitts dropped the bomb. I'm pregnant by Robert. Imagine hearing that from your fiancé's ex through her kid. The look on Judge Lake's face said it all. This was about to get messy.
You are that ex and are not only here today to prove paternity, but also want Mr. Slater's fiancé to know that he is still attempting to have a sexual relationship with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Pitts explained she wasn't calling to be messy. She just needed Robert's signature for adoption papers. At the time, she was planning to give the baby up, but her sister and husband convinced her to keep Harmony, and now she says Robert needs to step up. Ms. Valdez-Lark, however, isn't buying it. She says Ms. Pitts has too many kids already, and questions why she'd have another with a man who doesn't even care for the 2 they already share.
So, like I told her, I will call you back. Let me get in touch with him. So I called him to get him home so we can continue the conversation, because I wasn't going to continue the conversation without him being in there.
When Mr. Slater finally gets questioned, he denies everything. He says he hasn't slept with Miss Pitts in years. According to him, she's obsessed and just using Harmony to keep him tied to her. Ms. Pitts fires back, saying she doesn't need him. Her husband is already taking care of the baby. Judge Lake has to step in as both women start yelling at once.
So you wanted to move forward with the adoption,
Yes, ma'am.
but you didn't.
No, ma'am.
Why did you ultimately not move forward?
When I first decided to give my child up for adoption,
Then Ms. Valdez-Lark delivers her own bombshell. She actually paused their engagement when she heard about the pregnancy. She even pawned her engagement ring at one point because she was sick of the drama. Judge Lake nearly falls off the bench when she admits it. This isn't just about paternity, it's about trust hanging by a thread.
What happened when you found out Miss Pitts was pregnant?
I told her, come and get him and his stuff and get him out. He didn't want to go.
Ms. Pitts insists the baby looks just like Robert, sending photos of Harmony directly to Ms. Valdez-Lark. At first, she agreed the baby looked like him, even telling Robert's mother. But now, she's backtracking hard, saying every baby gets compared to his family. You can see Judge Lake roll her eyes. The gallery's whispering like they're watching the juiciest soap opera of the year.
Miss Pitts as well, and the baby could possibly be his?
It's a great possibility.
Okay.
Because what woman in their right mind would just concoct some kind of story and call somebody with some
he
old
don't do
bogus
nothing
story
for my
if
baby.
it wasn't
Why would I keep
true.
on putting my baby on him? He don't do nothing for her. Look at my child. My child looks just like him.
She's a beautiful baby. I got to
She's
give
just
you
like
that.
him.
And then comes the contradiction train. Mr. Slater says he hasn't seen Harmony in person at all, only photos. Ms. Pitts says that's a lie. He's been to her house. Ms. Valdez-Lark admits she doesn't even know who to believe anymore. Judge Lake sums it up best. Everybody's a liar in here, but the baby isn't.
Getting a little annoyed because the truth is, we're talking about everything
But except for
else
that child right there.
but Harmony, and
child.
how in the world we got to the point.
The courtroom chaos reaches peak levels when even Mr. Slater's oldest daughter gets dragged into it. Apparently, she told him directly that she saw him at Miss Pitts' house during the conception window. He denies it, of course, but now Judge Lake is officially done. She tells him his constant "she's lying" defense is nonsense, because all he ever says is lie, lie, lie without facts.
And that's why this baby cannot be yours, because you have never ever slept with her in recent past.
You're right, Your Honor.
Ms. Valdez-Lark admits she doesn't even know if she wants to marry him anymore. She says he's cheated before, and she wouldn't be surprised if Harmony is his child. Her voice cracks as she admits she still loves him but can't live in constant doubt. The stakes aren't just about Harmony, they're about whether this couple will survive at all.
But everything time they make a statement, they a lie.
They can't recall.
So you sit here for a second and think about what you know and what you can offer in terms of testimony.
Finally, it's DNA time. Jerome delivers the envelope, and Judge Lake prepares to read the truth that could end an engagement or confirm years of denial. The courtroom is silent as she says, "When it comes to 1-year-old Primrose Harmony Pitts, Mr. Slater, you are the father." The gasp in the courtroom is deafening. Ms. Pitts looks vindicated, Ms. Valdez-Lark looks furious, and Robert looks like he'd rather disappear.
Bye, bye, bye. In the case of Valdez-Lark versus Pitts Slater, when it comes to 1-year-old Primrose Harmony Pitts, Mr. Slater, you are her father.
Judge Lake doesn't hold back. She calls him out for being cavalier and irresponsible, saying at 30 years old, he's too old to be clowning like this. She demands he step up for Harmony, whether his engagement survives or not. Ms. Pitts says she just hopes he does right by his daughter. Ms. Valdez-Lark, meanwhile, looks ready to walk out for good. And with that, court is adjourned, but not before leaving us with one of the juiciest paternity plot twists ever.
You need to get serious. How old are you? 30 years old? 30. That's too old to be up in here clowning. This energy I'm getting from you, it's very off-putting.
Imagine being in paternity court, not only arguing about who the father of your baby is, but also whether you're even the baby's real mother. That's exactly the chaos we're dealing with today in Barlow versus Winslow. Mr. Barlow insists his girlfriend cheated with the landlord and claims her son Jabray looks nothing like him. Meanwhile, Ms. Winslow says if he's not the father, maybe the hospital actually switched her baby at birth? Yes, switched at birth. Things don't get more dramatic than this.
You may be seated.
Your Honor,
Hello.
this is the case of Barlow versus Winslow.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day, John.
Mr. Barlow, you say your 8 kids look exactly like you, but the defendant's son, Jabray, looks nothing like you. And that's because you're not his father.
Right away, Mr. Barlow says all 8 of his other kids look just like him. But Jabray? Nope. He points the finger at the landlord, saying he was around the house way too much, especially late at night. 10 o'clock at night, fixing things? Mr. Barlow wasn't buying it. He says every time he called from out of town, she'd hang up and say, "I'll call you back. The landlord's here." Judge Lake can barely keep a straight face hearing this one.
Is your son's biological father, but also say if he's not, there's a good reason for it.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Barlow, tell us why you doubt Jabray and who you believe his real father is.
Ms. Winslow claps back, saying the landlord was just doing his job. He didn't have contractors, so yes, he came late to build bunk beds, fix leaks, and even help move furniture. She insists nothing romantic ever happened. But Mr. Barlow is convinced, especially since the landlord once reduced her $2,500 rent to just $300. Now that's what he calls suspicious.
Clearly, if the landlord's going to repair something in the
It's not the
apartment,
landlord
he
that's
has
on
to
it.
be in the apartment. So if she says, "I'm going to call you back because the landlord is here,"
And I
that's
have-
just because
and I
he
have-
wants to make sure he's fixing the right thing.
Then the receipts start flying. Ms. Winslow explains she was scammed by another landlord before, lost money, and was desperate with 3 kids in a U-Haul. This landlord took pity on her and let her move in without a deposit. She says that's why he helped with furniture, not because he was sneaking around. But Mr. Barlow says he came home once and caught her and the landlord crossing the street with the kids eating ice cream. He thought it was a date.
Therefore, I'm driving around in a U-Haul with no place to go. I come across a landlord,
Okay.
and I tell him I have no money. I just gave my $2,000 to a landlord that
So
was
ask her
crooked,
about
and
the
I can't
furniture.
even move in the
Ask
house.
her about the furniture.
So what he says
Refrigerator.
to me is,
Judge Lake points out the obvious. A landlord doing repairs doesn't automatically make him the baby daddy. But Barlow won't budge. He keeps repeating, "Look at the baby, look at him." And truthfully, Jabray does look different. Lighter skin, features that had even strangers asking Ms. Winslow if he was Hispanic. That's when Ms. Winslow drops the courtroom bomb. She actually questions whether she is the mother, believing her baby might have been switched at birth.
He always at the house. For what?
That's a very nice landlord.
Yeah, he's very nice.
listen.
So,
He's very nice.
Mr. Barlow, you say you feel like the baby doesn't look like you.
Man, he look like this dude. Only reason I can't tell you that they got the same hair color because he bald head.
The entire courtroom gasps. Judge Lake is stunned. She's heard cheating, lies, even hidden pregnancies, but never a mother doubting her own maternity. Ms. Winslow explains everywhere she goes. People assume she kidnapped the child or that he belongs to someone else. She even researched online and found a study saying 28,000 babies a year are switched at hospitals. That number alone sends the audience into a frenzy.
Is a first in this courtroom. You're saying that you question whether or not you're this child's mother.
Yes.
Judge Lake calls a quick recess to confirm the maternity portion of the DNA test. When court resumes, she delivers the first shocking reveal. Ms. Winslow, you are 99.9999% the biological mother of Jabray. The relief on her face is immediate, like a mountain lifted off her shoulders. She bursts into tears, saying that's all she needed to hear.
We're back in session in the case of Barlow versus Winslow. You've claimed this child could have been switched at birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I needed to go back to my chambers. I needed to do some research. I needed to look through the results.
Now back to the paternity drama. Mr. Barlow admits he's cheated before, even fathering twins and triplets outside their relationship. But he says none of that matters. He knows infidelity when he sees it and insists the landlord is Jabray's real father. Ms. Winslow, through tears, says she's never cheated, not once in their 11 years together. She stuck by him through everything, and she's hurt that he won't do the same.
That was just an excuse. Like I said, excuses
No,
are
it
only
wasn't
good
an
for those
excuse.
who use them. If he's not yours, he was switched at birth.
That's
You
something
understand what
that
I'm
I
saying?
strongly believe. Do you think I would play like with
So-
something like that, Your Honor? That's something serious. That's hurtful.
The back and forth spirals into comedy when Mr. Barlow claims the baby even talks Spanish. Yes, you heard that right. He swears little Jabray says things like padre, hinting at his supposed Colombian roots. Judge Lake can't help but chuckle, reminding him baby babble is not hereditary language skills. The courtroom breaks into laughter, but the tension remains thick.
You know,
No,
he
doesn't,
can say a
Your
lot of
Honor.
Spanish
He does
stuff.
not.
You know what I'm
That's him
saying?
being funny, Your Honor. He does
He
not
say a lot of
speak
Spanish stuff.
He does not.
You know what I mean? Like,
You saying the child speaks Spanish
No,
too?
Your Honor.
yeah, like.
Finally, Jerome hands Judge Lake the big envelope. The room goes silent. Ms. Winslow braces herself. Mr. Barlow leans forward, and the entire gallery holds its breath. Judge Lake announces, when it comes to 20-month-old Jabray Barlow, Mr. Barlow, you are the father. Gasps, tears, and cheers erupt all at once. Ms. Winslow sobs in relief while Mr. Barlow sits back, stunned but speechless.
In the case of Barlow versus Winslow, as it pertains to 20-month-old Jabray Barlow, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Barlow, you are the father.
Judge Lake delivers the final wisdom bomb. She tells them both to stop living in chaos and confusion because their son deserves a healthy home. She reminds them that doubts and gossip nearly tore their family apart, but the truth is undeniable. They are both Jabray's parents. And with that, court is adjourned, leaving us all shaken, laughing, and maybe even tearing up.
When you live in confusion, you can't grow, you can't build, but a child needs to grow up in a family.
Imagine dreaming your whole life about having a daughter only to end up in paternity court because you're not sure she's really yours. That's the heartbreaking situation Mr. Benning faces today. He and Ms. Bodine are in court over not one, but two children, 2-year-old Robin and 6-month-old Jermaine Jr. He desperately wants to believe they're both his, but constant rumors, texts, and betrayal have filled him with doubt. Buckle up, folks, because this ride is about to get emotional.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Benning versus Bodine.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you.
Mr. Benning shares that his mother passed away when he was just 14, and ever since, he's dreamed of having a daughter he could love the same way his mom loved him. When Robin was born, he says his world finally felt complete. She's goofy, she's daddy's little girl, and they share everything, even their love for goldfish snacks. But the shadow of doubt has been haunting him since day one.
Well, first off, Your Honor, my mother passed away when I was 14 years old. She was my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. And after she died, it, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her.
And here's where things get messy. As Ms. Bodine was literally in labor with Robin, Mr. Benning says he received a text from another man claiming he was the father and demanding to be at the hospital. Imagine sitting next to your girlfriend, holding her hand through contractions, and your phone buzzes with, "Move over, that's my baby." That's straight out of a soap opera.
No, Your Honor. I admit I did cheat, but for certain he's the father. We was together while I got pregnant with Robin.
Despite that text, Mr. Benning stayed strong. He signed the birth certificate and promised himself he wouldn't let anyone steal his joy. But the doubts never went away, especially since Miss Bodine admitted to cheating. She insists Robin is definitely his, pointing out that she even had the other man tested, and results showed 0% chance of paternity. Still, Mr. Benning says one test doesn't erase the possibility of others.
So, Ms. Bodine, this other man sent a text to Mr. Benning while he's by your side at the hospital. How do you know this other guy is not biological father?
Their fights get brutal. Mr. Benning admits every time they argue, Ms. Bodine throws out the dagger. "You're not her father." She admits she says it to hurt his feelings, but to him, it cuts deeper than she'll ever understand. He says, "That little girl is my mother come back to be with me. When you tell me she's not mine, it feels like you're taking my mother away again." Woo, that's heavy.
Your Honor, anytime that something's wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father. As soon as we start to argue, you're not her father. But if you need something, I'm
you
the father.
say stuff to hurt my feelings. Why can't
Have I
I do
ever
it
told
to
you that you're not the parent of your kid?
The courtroom grows somber as Mr. Benning explains how difficult it is living with constant whispers, texts, and calls saying Robin isn't his. He describes changing diapers, rocking her to sleep, hearing her call him daddy, while a voice in his head whispers she might not be. The emotional weight is crushing, and even Judge Lake looks shaken.
So, Mr. Benning, explain what the doubt feels like, having to live with it every day.
Yeah, I had to change her diaper and look at her and play with her, and she's calling me daddy, and there's something in the back of my head saying she might not be. You know, there's a text message on my phone saying he's not yours.
Ms. Bodine, however, stands firm. She says she knows 100% that Robin is his child. She doesn't know why people keep spreading rumors, but she insists she's telling the truth. Still, Mr. Benning isn't convinced. He says he doesn't trust a word she says anymore, and now his doubts extend to their 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr. If Robin might not be his, how can he be sure about the baby?
Ms. Bodine says she is 100% certain. That doesn't make your doubt subside?
I don't trust the thing that really comes out of her mouth. I really don't. And to be honest with you, after all this has happened, you know, depending on the doubts with Robin,
Judge Lake decides it's time to get clarity, starting with Robin's results. Jerome delivers the envelope and the tension is thick. Mr. Benning is visibly shaking, clutching the podium. Judge Lake opens the results and reads, "When it comes to 23-month-old Robin Benning, Mr. Benning, you are not the father." The gasp is audible. Ms. Bodine looks stunned, and Mr. Benning's face crumbles.
Are you okay?
yes, Your Honor, I'm perfect.
Okay.
I just want to get it out there. I want to know the truth. She deserves it. She deserves everything.
In the case of Benning versus Bodine, when it comes to 23-month-old Robin Benning, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
Through tears, Mr. Benning says, "It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna be there. I'm the only one she calls daddy. You can't take that away." It's gut-wrenching, but his love for Robin is undeniable. Judge Lake, moved by his devotion, decides they must also test Jermaine Jr. to put all doubts to rest once and for all.
I'm the only one she calls daddy. You can't change it. We spent 2 years together. You can't change that. You can't take that away.
The courtroom braces for round 2. Mr. Benning recounts how he received more texts after Jermaine Jr. was born, people claiming the baby wasn't his. Even Ms. Bodine admits she once texted him out of spite, saying she'd file for a DNA test. She shrugs it off as being vindictive, but for Mr. Benning, the words stuck like daggers.
After all that, I get a text telling me, oh, I want a paternity test for Jermaine too. Like, why would you say that if
And
that's
that
my
was
junior?
submitted to the court.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
Judge Lake asks about the birth. Mr. Benning proudly says he was there, signed the certificate, and even gave his son his full name, Jermaine Truth Benning Jr. That's how much he wanted him to be his legacy. But now, with doubts piled sky high, he says he just needs the truth, one way or another.
Jermaine Truth Benning Jr., your concern is that the truth is
That he's
you
not.
are not his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, it's time. Jerome delivers the second envelope. Judge Lake opens it carefully as the room goes silent. She announces, "When it comes to 6-month-old Jermaine Benning Jr., Mr. Benning, you are not the father." The heartbreak is instant. Mr. Benning covers his face, sobbing while the gallery sits in stunned silence.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read, when it comes to 6-month-old Jermaine Benning Jr., Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
Ms. Bodine admits she doesn't know who the real father is, and Judge Lake doesn't hold back. She tells Ms. Bodine she owes her children the truth, because sooner or later, someone else will tell them. The damage of lies will only grow if she doesn't take responsibility. Ms. Bodine looks down, ashamed, while Mr. Benning wipes his tears.
Cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do, and
Ms. Bodine, do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor.
Judge Lake closes with powerful words. DNA makes you a father, but love makes you daddy. She commends Mr. Benning for his devotion, despite the pain, and urges both of them to create a stable, honest environment for their kids. As the gavel falls, the courtroom is left shaken, proof that sometimes love isn't enough to erase betrayal, but it can still shine through the darkest truths.
When you could have told them, you too could have told them, all right? We have counseling and resources for you. Please talk to Dr. Jeff. Please begin the healing process and figure out how we can create healthy, happy environments, safe, emotional environment for these two beautiful children. And Mr. Benning, I applaud you.
What happens when a wedding hangs on the results of a DNA test? That's exactly the drama in today's case. Ms. Lohmann says she's desperate for her fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, to be the father of her 10-month-old daughter, London. She swears today's results will decide whether their family stays together or if her wedding dreams collapse. But Mr. Mitchell says deep down, he doubts it's his child, and if the results prove he isn't the father, next month's wedding is off.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Lohmann versus Mitchell.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Lohmann, you are in court today hoping and praying your fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the biological father of your daughter, London, and you and your mother are here to prove it.
Ms. Lohmann starts by painting a picture of their love story. They met in high school, became close friends, and eventually he moved in with her family to escape a tough home life. Sounds sweet, right? Well, there's a catch. She had a boyfriend at the time. That's right, folks. This love triangle started with a kiss underwater in the pool, and let's just say things escalated quickly.
You say nothing would make you happier than finding out you are London's biological father, but you are in court today believing there is no way you are. You say if the DNA results prove you are not the father, next month's wedding is off.
Judge Lake raises an eyebrow as Ms. Lohmann admits she continued sleeping with both Mr. Mitchell and her boyfriend, with no protection. This is where you can hear the audience gasp, and when she found out she was pregnant, she initially convinced herself the baby was her boyfriend's. Woo, talk about denial with a capital D.
London is not to become of Mr. Mitchell, then our wedding is going to be off, and that's going to, it's really going to upset me.
All right, and how is it affecting your relationship now?
Mr. Mitchell says he didn't even know what to think when she told him. At first, she didn't say a word, keeping him in the dark while her ex believed he was the dad. Eventually, she confessed there was a possibility the baby was his, but by then, trust had already started to crumble. You could cut the tension between these two with a knife.
He came from a very, very hard, difficult, terrible background, and I wanted to help him and save him from that. So I went home and I spoke to my mother and my dad about it, and I was like, can we do something about it?
When Ms. Lohmann went to the doctor, the estimated conception window pointed more toward Mr. Mitchell than her ex. She says she had been with Mitchell every day during that time and only with her ex once or twice. But Judge Lake doesn't let her slide, reminding her that it only takes one time to make a baby. The whole courtroom nods along. Basic biology, folks.
I didn't stop it. I let it continue, and we ended up having sex.
All right, and so Mr. Mitchell, do you remember when your feelings for Ms. Lohmann changed from friends to more?
As if things weren't messy enough, Ms. Lohmann's ex completely ghosted after she tried reaching out. She says he blocked her, cut ties with her family, and hasn't been seen in months. Meanwhile, Mitchell was there for every appointment, every ultrasound, and even the birth. Still, his name wasn't put on the birth certificate because Ms. Lohmann admits she wasn't sure who the father was at the time.
So what was that situation like?
He never found out, and to this day, he still doesn't know.
He does not know to this day that you were also sleeping with Mr. Mitchell.
Right, Your Honor.
Was this just a one-time thing when you all ended up having sex, or did it continue?
It continued.
Ms. Lohmann swears the baby looks just like Mitchell, pointing out matching eye color, eyelashes, and features. She even brought in baby pictures for comparison. Mitchell isn't convinced though, saying, just because she has blue eyes doesn't mean she's mine. His doubt is real, but Ms. Lohmann insists the resemblance is undeniable.
Were you all dating now, you and Ms. Lohmann?
Yes, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. We were not dating at the time I told him there was a possibility. I was still with my ex at the time.
Despite his doubts, Mitchell has bonded deeply with London. He says, I love her to death. She's amazing. His cousin, however, thinks he's being taken advantage of, that Ms. Lohmann just picked him because she knew he'd step up. That accusation alone sends sparks flying, with Ms. Lohmann firing back that she loves Mitchell for who he is, not just for his willingness to care for London.
So you do understand that it is not a numbers game.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't mean it to be funny, I'm serious. You do
Yes,
understand
Your Honor.
that. So you could have sex with someone 20 times and have sex with someone else 1 time, and that 1 time make a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Their engagement only adds more pressure. Mitchell proposed under a bridge in Indiana, and Ms. Lohmann said yes while still pregnant. She admits she pushed the doubts to the back of her mind, but now with the wedding weeks away, she can't ignore them anymore. Mitchell says plain and simple, if I'm not the father, there will be no wedding. You could hear a pin drop in that courtroom.
You say they have the same eyes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's look at this. On the left is London, and on the right is Mr. Mitchell. And you believe that is an indicator.
Judge Lake presses them both hard. She reminds Ms. Lohmann that love, hope, and resemblance are not proof of paternity. Only DNA tells the truth. And as she turns to Mitchell, she points out his fear. Loving a child as his own only to find out she's not biologically his is every man's nightmare. The stakes here couldn't be higher.
She's amazing, you said.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has been there from day one. He takes care of her, he watches her, he has become so attached to this baby, and he has treated her as if he's known all along that she is his.
Finally, it's time for answers. Jerome delivers the envelope, and the courtroom holds its breath. Judge Lake reads the results slowly. When it comes to 10-month-old London, Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father. Gasps echo through the room. Ms. Lohmann breaks down, covering her face, while Mitchell looks devastated but strangely calm.
In the case of Lohmann versus Mitchell, when it comes to 10-month-old London, Leona Lohmann, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father.
Through tears, Ms. Lohmann admits there's no other possible father except her ex, who has since disappeared. Judge Lake says the next step must be finding him, because London deserves the truth. She also warns Ms. Lohmann that lies and half-truths only delay heartbreak. The courtroom sits in stunned silence, watching this young couple's dreams collapse in real time.
Ms. Lohmann, I can tell that was not the news you were expecting to hear.
No, Your Honor.
Are we certain? Is your ex London's biological father, or is there another possibility that we just have not spoken about yet?
No, Your Honor, there is no other possibility.
In the aftermath, Mitchell shows surprising strength. He tells Judge Lake he still wants to be there for London, no matter what. I'm gonna keep going and stay her dad, he says quietly. Ms. Lohmann apologizes, sobbing, saying she loves him and wants to make it work. Whether the wedding happens or not, the love for that baby is real.
Let's figure out how we do that, because it is easier said than done. Do you want to try to make it work with Ms. Lohmann?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Well, with that said, Ms. Lohmann, is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Mitchell? He's been wonderful to your
I
baby.
want to tell you that I'm sorry and I love you.
Judge Lake closes with wisdom. DNA might end the wedding plans, but it doesn't erase the bond Mitchell built with London. She reminds them that while the truth hurts, it also clears the path for healing, and that little London deserves nothing less.
So now we figure out how to move forward. I want you all to figure out how you put this family together, but also help London find her biological father so she could hopefully have a relationship with him too.
Imagine waking up after a night of partying, and 10 months later, someone is dragging you to paternity court claiming you're the father. father. That's exactly where Mr. Boston finds himself today. He insists there's no way he fathered Ms. Murphy's son Tristan, while she swears he's the only possible dad. To make matters worse, she's even put him on child support already. Talk about messy. This case is already a roller coaster.
Mr. Boston, you have dragged the defendant into court today because you say you have undeniable proof that there is no way possible that you are the biological father of the defendant's 10-month-old son, Tristan.
From the jump, Mr. Boston tries to deny everything, saying, "You gotta have sex to make a baby, and I don't even remember that." Cue Judge Lake's classic side-eye, but under pressure, he admits they did, in fact, have sex, multiple times. He first said no, then yes, then claimed he always used protection. Ms. Murphy interrupts, shouting, "Lies," every 2 seconds. I mean, who else is exhausted already?
Stop denying that he's Tristan's father. You believe the DNA results will be your today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The back and forth is wild. Ms. Murphy says Boston stayed at her house all the time, even slept in her bed every night. Meanwhile, he claims he only crashed on the floor when he couldn't get into his mom's house. Judge Lake isn't buying it, pointing out that if they weren't in a relationship, they sure acted like it. Both keep yelling liar at each other like kids in middle school.
But now you started off the whole case lying. You said you gotta have sex to have a baby.
Exactly.
You're saying you didn't have sex, but you did.
Right.
Now you're saying you used protection.
Yes.
When Ms. Murphy discovered she was pregnant, Boston was initially thrilled, rubbing her belly and smiling. But later, after sobering up, he started doubting. He claims the timing doesn't line up and says he wasn't around when conception supposedly happened. Ms. Murphy claps back, saying he was there every day. Their stories are so contradictory, it's like two different movies playing at once.
When I moved to Danville, I bumped into Mr. Boston. We exchanged numbers. After that, he started coming over my house, spending the night, and we had sexual encounters plenty of times on several occasions in my bedroom.
Things get even messier when Judge Lake finds out Boston didn't even know Ms. Murphy's real name. He just called her Boo. Imagine being intimate for months and not even learning someone's government name. Judge Lake is floored. The audience bursts out laughing, and Boston looks like he wants to crawl under the podium. You can't make this stuff up.
That family member came in the house and told me, well, you know somebody named Teresa? At the time, I didn't know her government name. Only thing I knew was
He's
Boopy.
lying. He's
I knew her
lying,
by
Your Honor.
Boopy.
He's
I never
lying.
knew Teresa Murphy.
Enter the receipts. Ms. Murphy shows a photo of Boston holding baby Tristan, which she even posted on Facebook. Boston tries to play it off, saying he only took the picture to see if the baby looked like him. Judge Lake cuts him down quick. So you wanted Facebook to weigh in on the resemblance test? The courtroom erupts with laughter.
After I had the baby, Your Honor, he came to Chicago to see my baby.
Yes.
So during pregnancy and birth, you all lived in different states?
Yes, I moved back to Chicago with my mom.
Then the plot twist. Judge Lake reveals there's another possible father, Mr. Gregory, who admits he also slept with Ms. Murphy during the same time frame. Gregory testifies that when she told him she was pregnant, he blocked her on Facebook and ghosted her completely. Ms. Murphy calls him out for being a coward, while Boston smirks like he just got back up. The drama is officially at level 10.
We've determined that you, in fact, have had a relationship with Ms. Murphy.
A sexual relationship.
Just a sexual relationship. Take me back to the day Ms. Murphy told you she was pregnant.
She texted me on Facebook and told me she was pregnant.
Ms. Murphy's best friend, Ms. Wynn, joins the stand and backs her up, sort of. She says Boston was the one around the most, but admits there was a 2-week window where Murphy was seeing Gregory. That revelation makes Boston's face light up like he just won the lottery. Ms. Murphy's jaw drops, and the tension between best friends is so thick you could slice it with a knife.
My name's Kiana Wynn.
And what is your relationship to Ms. Murphy?
I'm her best friend.
You're her best friend?
Yes.
All right. Who do you believe is Tristan's biological father?
Mr. Boston.
To make things worse, Ms. Murphy admits she put Boston on child support simply because she had his information, his social security number and birthday, not because she was sure he was the dad. Judge Lake is furious, telling her child support isn't a game and you can't just slap someone's name on paperwork out of convenience. You can practically hear Judge Lake's patience snap.
Boston contributed, helped support the child.
No, ain't nobody did anything for my baby since my son been born. I've been doing everything for my baby. I am a 24/7 mother, but my baby deserves to know who his father is.
Judge Lake gives both men a reality check, telling them to stop scowling and pointing fingers because they both willingly laid down with her. The audience claps, and even Boston shuts his mouth for a second. Judge Lake reminds them the only thing that matters is Tristan, a 10-month-old baby who deserves to know who his father really really is.
You're responsible if you know you slept with more than one man during the window of conception. It is your responsibility to figure out who that child's father is. And before you rope somebody arbitrarily into child support without knowing he's the father, to just figure out that issue.
Finally, it's DNA time. Judge Lake reads the results. First up, Mr. Gregory is not the father. The room gasps. Then she opens the next envelope. When it comes to 10-month-old Tristan Murphy, Mr. Boston, you are not the father. The courtroom explodes. Murphy looks crushed, Boston looks smug, and Gregory just shrugs.
Mr. Gregory, you are not his father. The next results read as follows. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Boston, you are not the father.
The aftermath is raw. Judge Lake tells Ms. Murphy she owes both men an apology and warns her to stop playing games with her child's future. Murphy breaks down in tears, admitting she doesn't know who Tristan's father is. Judge Lake delivers her final wisdom. DNA gives us the facts, but it's your responsibility to live with truth. The case ends with heartbreak, hard lessons, and a baby still waiting for answers.
Thank you for the truth, because you can't get anywhere till you tell the truth. As you come of age and get older, you're gonna learn that sometimes you just gotta put your big girl panties on and you got to tell the truth.